people like it.
Do they?
Yeah. Against all the odds.
They must be sure something to do. Get a life, get a hobby, buy a motorbike.
Do that. Against all the odds, people actually do like listening to us.
Lord have mercy. Hey?
I don't know why.
I tell you something, it's enough to turn people to religion, this is.
Oh yeah, I'll convert, just make them stop. Hello.
Hey up, you alright?
And welcome to, is this episode 7? I think this might be episode 7.
Is it really?
I think it is.
We've done 7 of them?
I think we've done 7 of them.
Can I also just say, you said hello, and I thought you were talking to me. You were talking to people who were listening, weren't you?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, I've already said hello to you today.
Apologies.
Don't need to do it again.
No, okay.
Yes, welcome to episode 7 of the This Way Up podcast. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Malk.
And we just wanted to talk a little bit about what's been going on in our lives.
Yeah, there's been some...
This past few weeks. This will be the second half of a weird kind of two-parter.
Brill. Like the idea of that.
There's no cohesion there's nothing to link them whatsoever.
I actually can't remember what we talked about last time because it was that long ago.
Oh, tremendous.
Seriously.
I have it in a note. It was all about manuals for life.
Oh, was it?
Was it?
Oh, right.
Back in
What,
June,
like Haynes manuals, but for life? I don't know. I can't remember.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, all right.
But this one, we thought we'd go into a little bit about what's been going on in our lives recently,
Yeah.
and how our relationships with our churches and the people around us have helped us.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's a really good thing to talk about.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people will resonate and identify with this.
I definitely think so, because it's interesting because, like, a lot of people just think of church as a place that you go to on a Sunday morning for an hour and you sing some songs and, you know, you have a cup of tea and you speak to people and then you go home and that's it for the week. And then you rinse and repeat, maybe once for Christmas and once for Easter. And certainly that's literally like, you know, that's most people's
experience of church.
Experience and connection with the church,
Or expectation, even.
Absolutely.
Of church, to be honest. That's what it is.
I mean, even just the word church, you immediately, in English, you sort of think about a monolithic, like even Gothic, or, you know, just a big,
a rather scary, dark, cold building.
Exactly, a scary, big, scary, dark, cold building. That's kind of either kind of all stone or built in the 60s. And
can I just say that we really aren't selling church, are we? But it actually is an honest.
We're getting into that. We're getting into it.
No. I'm not criticising you. I'm just pointing out a fact that actually what you're saying is right, and what a lot of people out there think, well, why on earth would I want to step foot into that?
Why would I bother?
What we've just explained.
Why would I do that? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not our experience.
No. So
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Talk about that.
So it very much can be. Well, let's go into why we don't think it's that.
Why we don't think church is what we've just explained.
Exactly.
So like a building that you go to for an hour once a week, which is always cold and damp and not particularly welcoming.
Exactly.
In fact, I'd have to say, if you do go to a place like that, what are you going for? As a Church of England vicar, I need to be careful what I say because the bishop might be listening.
Busy?
I doubt it.
No.
Doesn't ride motorbikes.
No. How have you been doing recently?
If I'm honest with you, I've had a pretty rough time. I've had a rough time for a number of reasons. My mum's not been well. So my mum's 80... Oh, no. I can't remember. Sorry, Mum, if you're listening. My mum's 84, I think. She's around that neck of woods. And she fell and broke her hip.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Which isn't good, is it?
No.
She lives down in Brixham with my sister. So it's not been easy for my sister and her partner, Mark. But obviously my mum's been hurt. And that's not been easy. And she's an elderly lady and she's struggled. But just to end that, it all ended well. The operation went well and she's on the mend.
No, she's on the mend. Okay.
Which is good.
Yeah.
But So there was that, but if I'm honest with you, that wasn't the real reason I'm struggling. I've just kind of felt things have changed professionally. I've got a bit more on my plate, weight load wise, and also there's just there's an endless stream of just things that happen in life, and particularly when you're working in ministry, you know, kind of there's always problems. People are struggling in different ways, and that can weigh quite heavy on you. And I've kind of gone through a period where I've just been through a really kind of difficult patch, if I'm honest. You know, the trouble is with me, you see, Andy, I give off this kind of impression that I'm very bubbly and nothing kind of bothers me too much, if you know what I mean. I kind of get on with things, but actually, I can struggle. I struggle with kind of anxiety and depression gets me sometimes, and I've been through that kind of a period.
It's not surprising in the slightest, because you give your heart and soul to this job, to the community.
Well, yeah, you do, and it does, and it pays, and it takes its toll sometimes. So basically, and we'll talk about how I got through this, I think, which is probably more important. But I think people will identify with this, won't they? There's a lot of people who struggle with anxiety and depression to different degrees.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, even if they wouldn't perhaps call themselves depressed or anxious as such, they still go through very low periods that they don't fully grasp, and they just feel like they can't kind of, they're just struggling with life. I think that happens. And that's kind of where I've been. So
to me, for sure, for various different reasons.
Yeah.
Over the years, yeah.
And can I say something? I think that's another thing which I would say that you experience in church. Whenever you ask anybody in church, how are you? How are you doing? Oh, I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah.
It's like the church response, isn't it? Which actually, sometimes it's true, but there are a lot of times where I think we just say that.
You. I'm good, thanks you.
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you? That's literally,
and that's it. And really, perhaps you really aren't good.
No, yeah. But then when you're feeling like that, the last thing you want to do is burden somebody. At least for me personally, is
you're right.
Somebody casually asks, "How are you?" They haven't seen you for a week.
Yeah.
You don't want to go, "Oh well,
actually,
how much time you got?"
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Can we get a coffee?
I think we best get a coffee and have a sit down and spew an hour. And then you've got the vicar or whoever's around.
Yeah.
And they're busy doing all of the Sunday stuff. They're busy busy. They've got a whole service to do.
Yeah.
So I think, it's one of them, isn't it? Whereas like, is Sunday morning is the typical church service really the vehicle for airing some of those issues, some of those struggles that people are having? I mean, my church does it. I mean, I'm sure your church does it too. Where I think I've only been to one of your services though. But my church sort of goes, if there's anything anybody's ever struggling with, we've got people. They've got a prayer ministry that kind of is over in the corner somewhere nice and secluded and private. And after every service, if anybody wants prayer for genuinely anything, they can go up and there's
that's what we're exactly the same.
Yeah, and so is Bikers Church.
Yeah, it is.
And so there's certainly a vehicle for that. There's a mechanism for kind of for doing that. But if somebody asks you, but then it takes a lot of guts, doesn't it, to kind of publicly stand up. I know what's being said between the person being prayed for and the person praying is in private, but to stand up and admit that there's something wrong,
yeah, definitely,
to go over to that place and seek the prayer and kind of explain the issue, is half the battle. At least, from my experience.
Yeah, no, it takes courage it does take courage, doesn't it, to admit. Sometimes to yourself, actually, you almost daren't admit it to yourself. When you're feeling quite low, it's like, I daren't. Because
I can't cope with the idea that there's something so wrong with me that I need to
reach out.
I know, and I get it. But then it was an interesting one because I suppose I've been periods of time when I've been unable to get to my own church, but I've been going there on and off for about 18 months. Yeah. And I'm certainly a regular part of it now. Now I've got back to St. Helens after my ankle injury.
Yeah.
But sort of like the first week I went back, they said, we're setting up a men's discipleship group.
Yeah, yeah.
And, we'd love for you to come along to it.
Yeah.
And actually those Wednesday nights, as casual as they are serious,
it's
a good balance to strike between guys getting together and having a laugh as friends, but also You know, we talk about what's bothering us.
Serious stuff as well, yeah.
And I think as I've gotten to know them better, as I've become more part of the group, because it's scary as someone who's just come in from the outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't even sound like I belong there, you know. I'm not the only person who's like that, obviously, but it's a different thing. It's a scary thing to sort of turn up with, you know. And some of them are already friends and all this, but they weren't cliquey, and they kind of just accepted me as one of their own. And suddenly you start telling them, you start airing the problems that you're going through.
Yeah.
And the result is that they can pray for it, and you can pray together, and you can look at things. If I'd really like to look at parts of the Bible that deal with this or deal with that, and then you really start to kind of hone the experience, and before you know it, you're a close knit community, a close knit the Christian family in a
which is brilliant, because actually what you've just described with your men's discipleship group sounds very different to the church that we were kind of almost making fun of. We weren't making fun. We were describing a church as many people think of church as something you go to for an hour a week and that's it.
We were highlighting a stereotype.
We were. Thank you. Oh, you talk. You're dead boss, you are, and I love that. Bless you, mate. You're so educated. I love you.
Eloquence, dear boy. Eloquence, dear boy.
I'm definitely not eloquent. But
it's agree to disagree.
But what I mean is, actually, what you described is what church should be. What church is, actually, in a huge amount of churches. It's not just a Sunday club. It's not just something where you go for an hour. It is literally community. You've said that word.
Yeah.
I don't know if you said family, but
I said family and community. Yeah.
Yeah. I think family is a word that I love to use for church. To be honest, because family gives that impression of it's a group of people who you know one another very well, and you can call on them, and you are also there for them whenever. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Deep, meaningful relationships. Living life together as families do.
That's it.
The good stuff and the bad stuff.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I think if people only engage with church at its basic level, at its bare minimum, then they're never going to feel satisfied with it.
Well, let's be honest about it. I mean, most people, and this is, once again, this is not a criticism, because I've been there. I was one of these people. Most people, you go to funerals, you might go to Christmas, you might go at Easter, perhaps christenings, that kind of stuff. But that's what you see of church. And the thing is, actually, those services do tend to be very, well, certainly in the Anglican Church, more traditional. Everybody's well dressed. It gives an impression of this is what church is like every Sunday, when actually, it's not, is it? And that's what people see, and I understand that. It grieves me a bit, because I often invite people to church, and some come, some don't. But people are normally very pleasantly surprised at what they encounter when they come through the door. Yeah,
I mean, if I invited anybody to my church this morning, or any of the past few weeks, our building's currently falling down from the inside. The roof's slowly disintegrating. So we've had to migrate to host church outside.
Love that.
Completely.
I love that.
But they make it work, and no fewer people in reality show up. It's the same number of people turning up each week. And they do the other events. They just do them outside. Like, they were going off for a picnic after church. It's quite a nice day. I couldn't be here, obviously, because I had to come down to Stoke. But the fact remains that the church is way more than the sum of its parts and just the building.
Well, that's something you hear a lot. Certainly in Christian circles, we talk a lot, don't we, about, the church isn't the building, the church is the people. But that is a deep truth, isn't it? Actually, that is truth, isn't it?
It is, but it takes the people to make the effort.
And
it's down to the individual. For instance, the first ever time I went to Bikers Church, I was already a Christian. I was already a Christian, so the concept of church certainly wasn't new to me. But the concept of a biker's church was, and a motorcycle was. And because I didn't feel like a biker, I thought, I'm not going to feel very welcome here. I don't belong here.
Yeah.
I've only had this thing for about 2 months. Like, I still got L plates on, and they're not going to think much of me when I turn up. But I couldn't have been more wrong if I'd tried.
Yeah.
Within 30 seconds of arriving, Amanda, I didn't know her then, but I sure do now since she's been on here. Amanda gave me a big hug and said, "Oh, hello, do you want a cup of tea?"
I was going to say Amanda accosted you.
Accosted.
Would that be the wrong?
Accosted is a fair term, yeah.
I just like that word.
That's a good word.
But it's probably not true, because Amanda's lovely.
yeah,
and
no,
she didn't accost you, but she would have certainly come across and made you very welcome. And
Certainly not a negative connotation, but
No.
she not only did she make me feel extremely welcome, but she plunked me down with immediately next to people that were around near me,
Yeah.
that would be able to support me, but would give me links towards
Yeah.
other events with the biking community, the Christian biking community near
Yeah.
where I lived, and I was astonished. I was just like, I'd obviously had experienced welcoming churches before in the past, but to have that, to go from that transition from sort of having never showed up to you're in.
Well, it's a good example, because actually, like
you're
you say,
just as welcome here
Yeah.
as the guy who's been coming for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like that's quite a special thing that
It is.
that requires a lot of the individual and makes a church somewhere that people actually want to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, and I think what was different for you, like you say, you've come from you know what church is about. You've been to lots of welcoming churches, but actually you came to that first Bikers church feeling a bit out of your depth and a bit of an outsider.
Absolutely.
So you kind of experienced it from a different angle, didn't you, if you like?
Certainly did.
And you accounted church just as it's meant to be.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, but if that welcoming, if the church should be an attractive
Yeah.
place that makes everybody feel welcome with no judgment, and all are welcome here, come as you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually,
Not like Kurt Cobain, but it's not.
but the truth is, what you've just described actually is what church always was meant to be.
Yes.
So
yes.
you look at the early church, don't you? And the early church was always a place where it was never the building, because they didn't have any buildings.
No.
they lived in 2,000 years ago in Israel. They lived in very primitive housing, but it wasn't even that. They didn't have a temple to go to.
No.
Not the first Christians who believed in Jesus.
Didn't have anything.
They had nothing. They met in houses. Yes, they had things in common, because they kind of worshipped the same God. They met this Jesus. They were excited about that. But it was just that. But I love when you read about that early church. It says that they had everything in common, and they'd share food together. They'd pray together. They'd meet together, and they'd look out. People who had lots gave to those who had nothing. There's just this lovely. It's family, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because thinking about family.
They took care of each other.
They took care of one another.
Yeah.
And it was simply that. And, it wasn't a case of you had to meet some criteria or tick a load of boxes to be in. You just simply had to come.
That's right.
And say,
turn up. Didn't matter if you were destitute. Didn't matter if you were, the then equivalent of a millionaire. It didn't matter, because everybody was equal in that sense.
Yeah, and that everybody looked upon one another as being equal.
Exactly.
That's the lovely thing. There was no
distinction.
There's no hierarchy, was there? In as much as, I've got more than you have, which means I'm better than you. So
none of that.
You're welcome, but you've got to sit down there.
Yeah.
So it's that lovely image of what church should be, and it's so simple. And do you know what? For me, Andy, what it is for me, we're talking about church, okay? I know we are, and we don't mince our words. We're Christians. This way up is kind of, yes, we're bikers, and we haven't talked a lot about bikes still, but that's okay, because not every episode is going to do that. Occasionally, we'll just chew the fat. I like saying that, chew the fat. Anyway, but the thing is, I think what we're talking about.
Some of us have got more fat to chew than others.
True.
I speak from. That's me. It's not you I was referring to.
Well, yes, but what I mean, so we've kind of described what a good church looks like. Well, I think we've described what a bad church looks like, or what people. Yeah, we've described what kind of church. The typical go for an hour, don't talk to anybody, don't be welcomed, I've got to say, most churches are not like that.
I
Most
should hope
churches.
not.
Well, they aren't. I mean, they aren't. I mean, I think there's a bad reputation. I think a few bad ones can give the majority a bad kind of,
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah.
But so okay. So we've talked about what a bad church. We talked about what a good church looks like and community, family. I think what I'd say is, I think actually what we've explained, what we've described in your disciple group and in a church that's working well, your first encounter at Bikers Church, we're actually talking, I think, about what all human beings are searching for, actually. And what I mean is, I think we all want to belong, don't we? Because we all have this like deep sense of, do you know what? I want to fit somewhere. I want to belong somewhere. I feel like I need to be part of something and I'm not.
Yeah. Offers 100%, yeah.
When I think about people, a lot of people I talk to, loneliness is massive. Or just feeling like they don't fit, feeling like because they look a certain way or talk a certain way or come from a certain class, well, I'm not able to come and mix with you or them. And actually, people just want to be accepted and loved, for who they are.
And the church should do that radically.
I love that word, Andy. I do. No, I love that word.
It should be
radical, man.
Anyone, everyone, anyone and everyone,
and literally to the point where if people come and they even don't believe what you believe, but they come and they want to be, and you love them, and they encounter love and acceptance.
Yeah.
No, because that's what Jesus did.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's the truth. And when I say, I want to be careful what I say here, because I don't want to come across saying like, so churches don't believe in anything, they don't have any truth. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying even what they would consider their truth, their beliefs, people who come who don't have the same opinions will still be loved and still be accepted and still find a place where they can be and feel safe. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it was
and that's radical. That's radical love.
When the religious leaders at the time, when Jesus was around, asked him what the most important thing was, the most important law, he just said, you love God and you love your neighbour, which is you love anybody.
That's it. Neighbour,
anybody else. Yeah. You love the person next to you.
Yeah. Neighbour, Jesus meant, didn't he? Literally, anybody you encounter in life.
Yes.
You love them. You show them love.
Yes.
And compassion.
Anybody else.
And that is radical. Even now it gets even more radical, doesn't it? Because he said, even your enemy.
Even those you hate. Well, there's that saying, isn't it? Love your enemies, it'll drive them crazy.
Well, yeah, but that's not what he did. That's what he did.
I know that's not what he was getting at. But
there's a verse in the Bible. There's a verse in the Bible that a lot of my mates love. I'm not going to mention any names, but there's some people I know who are listening will say they love that verse where it says, if you're kind to somebody who hates you, I'm getting this really wrong, but it's true. This is kind of the gist of it. It's like heaping hot coals on their head. Because so they're your enemy, they can't stand you, so you're going to be really nice to them, really, and it's like heaping hot coals on their head. Now let me just say, I don't think that's the reason why you should be nice to people to make them feel bad.
I wondered why you had that barbecue that you just next
to. I don't think that's what Jesus meant by it. But
That's not what he meant. That's not what he meant.
I don't think so.
He just said what he just said is you love God unconditionally, and in the same way that you love everybody else unconditionally, more so than you value yourself.
And I think the reason he puts God first there is because actually, if you love God, it means you'll actually kind of want to listen to what he says. You'll trust him, and that will actually automatically lead to you loving your neighbour.
Well, that's the plan. I mean, we're all human. We all struggle with that one. Probably arguably, but I think maybe the most out of all of the things that because we instantly want to like put people into boxes, and
we do
kind of
we do
shy away from anybody we don't really like too much, and we tend to spend time with the people that we like the most. But Jesus was very much a case of, when he was picking the people to follow him, he picked the people that were kind of on the fringes of society.
Yeah, it's interesting, that, isn't it? He goes to not just the poor, because he went to, actually, you think about Matthew, the tax collector, was actually probably loaded.
despised by pretty much
exactly.
everybody that he...
So he was loaded financially, but actually from a point of view of being part of a community or a family, he had nobody because he was hated.
Yeah.
Probably despised, well, pretty much certainly despised by his own family as well because of what he'd become, actually. So Jesus, I love this. This is obvious, and you're probably going to say, yes, Malk, obviously you're numpty. But if I wasn't quite...
Yes, Malk, obviously you're numpty.
That word hospitality. When I think of hospitality, Jesus was really hospitable. But I always think that's about inviting
It's one of his
people.
defining qualities, I would say.
I think so. Okay. I said I was stating the obvious, but the point, let me get to the point, Andrew.
So get to it, Malk.
Okay. So to me, hospitality is inviting people into your space. Okay? That's what I think. But actually, it's also about, isn't it, accepting invitations to move into somebody else's space that actually you wouldn't normally even consider going into. Do you know what I mean? And
I do, yes.
Jesus was good at that. And I think that's where showing love and hospitality is really difficult. I find it much easier inviting people into my space than I do actually going somewhere where I just feel darned uncomfortable.
Really? I'd much rather... Yeah. I mean, maybe if I tied it up, it'd probably be a bit different.
Well, just because you live in a pigsty, Andrew, does not... Actually, it's not... Actually, you have got pigs.
I have guinea pigs.
Well,
they don't really...
They're pigs.
They contribute to...
They're called the pig.
Yeah, there's the hay strewn everywhere, and it's not too bad.
It's not. It's not. No, it's not. But anyway, listen. I think this has been good, actually, and I hope people have found this interesting, because I guess what we're saying is that, I've been through some stuff. Andrew's, I don't know. Have you talked about you at all? It's all about me.
We haven't actually done that much about me, but
I'm sorry.
I don't. It's mate. It's totally fine in comparison to, I've just had a really great few weeks, but that's...
I've had a really rubbish few, I was going to say something.
You've had not such a good time, but your church family was there.
The church family were there, my biking family were there, and I'm not just kind of bolting them on as a bit of a... Because we're on a...
It's still so important, though.
It's true, isn't it?
Because, it's like I said the other week, and I'm going to reiterate it now. My Christian family extends to... the nature of a Christian family extends to my local church, but it also extends to CMA, and it also extends to Bikers Church, the Christian motorcyclists. Everybody I know who's on a bike and wears a white cross is part of my Christian family. And any single one of them, if I went to them and said, "Hey, look, I'm dealing with this," and we frequently do. We sit and we meet on a Thursday night, and we'll talk about stuff, and we share things, and we pray for people, and we do all these things. We do all these things because we love and care for each other. We help each other out with things. Our friend Mike. He let me keep my bike in his garage for best part of 4 years.
Yeah.
But then I was able, just to help him out. I'm able to do things from I helped him out with his job application and things like that. We all have our gifts and our strengths and our weaknesses.
We do.
And the family, the friends and the family that we have, are able to help us through it and get us to the point, get us through it with, and a Christian family in particular will pray.
Which is mad, yeah. So you're right. We don't do things through our own strength, do we? Which is,
no.
And that's, if you're not a Christian, listen to this. This is where it all gets a bit weird. You might think, "Hey, it's getting a bit weird. It's getting a bit hocus pocus here," but it's not. The truth of the matter is that actually, as Christians, we don't just believe this; we experience this. We actually, God gets us through, and that's not just we can hang on to this kind of. It's a bit of a pep talk that we get from God. He actually comes and gives us strength. You feel God's power and ability and love, don't you, working through you? And it's cool, and I'm not embarrassed to say that. It's truth.
And he answers prayer.
Oh, he does. Time and time again.
The answer can sometimes be no.
Which is a bit annoying.
but
always for the right reasons.
It's for the right reasons.
And
often you get so caught up in what you think you want.
Yeah.
And your time of adversity or your time of depression or anxiety or stress or whatever it is that you're dealing with,
Yeah.
He never gives you more than you can't. He never gives you more than you can handle.
That which is I love that verse. You can, even when you feel like you're about to tip over the edge, you can say, do you know what? But I know I'm not.
Yes.
And sometimes, and you know, how I love how God works is how He puts people in your path just when you need them. Or, you know, when the number of times somebody said to me, Malk, I just felt like I needed to give you a call, or I felt like I needed to text you. And I said, like, I cannot tell you how important that was.
Yeah. And it's weird, like, you feel sort of prompted to do it. It's a kind of...
Well, yeah. It's God. It's God's Spirit doing that for you. That, like I said, this is where some people who aren't Christians may just find this a little bit strange to hear, but it's true.
I'm gonna say a terrible cliche about it not being a coincidence is a God instance.
No, that's not. But I love that. But it's true. The thing is, it has become a bit of a
It's going to become a little bit of a cliche, but it is
true.
very much the case in the sense that.
Can I give you a very real example of kind of God putting people in the right place at the right time? It's literally happened about 3 hours ago.
You must.
So we just had a church service up at St. Stephen's, okay, up on Bentley.
Yeah.
And after the church, we went out to. Last week, a young guy got stabbed on a park nearby. And we just felt prompted as a church. We need to go out there to where it happened. And just literally, we took a loudspeaker. And we wanted to go and pray. And we wanted to let people know that we were praying for them.
Who'd you have?
What do you mean, who did I have?
Which loudspeaker?
I had the Bikers Church loudspeaker. What do you mean?
No, I mean... Oh, no, it was a joke.
I'm so sorry, I'm so slow. Well, actually, it was me. I was the loudspeaker.
Quite a loudspeaker.
I was the loudspeaker speaking through a loudspeaker. So it was particularly loud. The point I'm making, so anyway, we prayed. We played Amazing Grace. I had one person who I annoyed because it was Sunday lunchtime, and I think he was trying to watch a film, and he had this very loud, annoying vicar praying outside his house. But anyway, but one at the point, we prayed, we played Amazing Grace, and at the end, we had a lady come across. I'm not going to mention her name because it won't be right, but she came across in tears saying, "This morning I just felt like at the end of my tether." She says, "And I heard this beautiful song coming from somewhere, and I had to come out and find out." She said, "I saw you lot stood in the middle of the park, and I just want to come to us and say thank you." Because she said, honestly, it's just
it's wonderful.
Changed everything today for
I
me.
can't say that she was in tears now because you're singing now.
It was. Well, I was singing.
So nice and lovely that I can't ruin it. I can't sully it with it.
I wasn't singing. I was singing, but you couldn't hear me over the sound of. I can't think of that. There's a very famous version of Amazing Grace. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was lovely. So what I'm saying, that's an example.
Yes,
that's an example, isn't it, of how it works? And yes, you could say it's a coincidence, but like you say, Andy, I would say proudly that it was a God incidence.
I would agree.
It's been great.
It's been good.
It's been really good. Do you know what? It has been good, and we haven't talked about motorbikes, but I think we've talked about something that whether you're a biker or a skateboarder,
I'll be honest. Like, yeah, I know we've got a big logo for motorcycle, and we go to Bikers Church. We promote Bikers Church, and please come along, watch the live stream, check out the YouTube channel where this podcast is also hosted.
Yeah.
And we've got it in Warrington and in Stoke, the first Sunday in Warrington, the third Sunday in Stoke.
Yep.
Because it's genuinely like we describe it. We're not just trying to get people through the door for the sake of it.
It really is not about getting people through the door, because there's no I don't mean this nastily. I mean, of course we love people being at Bikers Church, and it makes it so. Yes, we want people there, but actually it's just about, we want to just meet people and care for people, and just
exactly,
that's all we want to do.
Exactly.
And that's it. And there's no agenda. And do you know what? And when I say there's no agenda, you may say, yeah, well, you're Christians telling us about God. Well, yeah, you're going to hear about God, but we're not going to ram it down your throats. You're just going to hear what we believe is the truth.
Yes.
In love. End of. And do you know what? If you want to come and you want to ignore what we say, that's fine, but come have a brew anyway.
And do you know what? You'll have a good laugh.
You will.
Who knows? You may even actually quite like us.
Steady on.
Yeah, that might be a bit.
I'm sorry, that's getting a bit too far.
Yeah, no, okay. Right, well, don't come then, because you won't like us. We're all. Don't come along to Bikers Church.
There you go.
Don't come along. You won't like us. We're all
weird, like Andrew.
We're all weird people. Yeah.
We're not weird at all. Can I mention something? Can I do a little bit of advertising? Because that's something I do want people to come to.
Plug away.
The 19th of October, we got our biker blessing and remembrance.
How could we have forgotten that?
At St John's, Abbey Alton, Stoke-on-Trent, ST2 8JE.
You nearly forgot your own postcode there.
I did.
You very nearly forgot your own postcode. Embarrassing. Yes. So what this is to wrap up the biking season and also coincide with with Remembrance Day. It's around about that time.
Yep.
We like to do a remembrance service / blessing,
Yep.
followed by a ride out at the end of October. So that's what that is, and the more the merrier, really. Come down. We'll have free breakfast.
We will.
Free breakfast on offer, and in the morning, and then we'll go for a little ride, and then we'll have a follow-up, basically a carbon copy of the service we did in Stoke, but at the Midway Truck Stop Cafe.
Awesome, well done.
Outside Whitchurch.
Yep.
Prees Heath.
Prees
Heath.
Well done,
Postcode escapes me, but that'll be
I will be
later on,
impressed.
and that'll be more close to lunchtime.
It will.
It's a wonderful day out.
It is.
And obviously it's nice to. It's a good thing to remember.
And you get a pin badge.
Did you get a pin badge?
You get a badge that says, I've been blessed 2024.
When we gather and we do things like that, it's really a very special. It's cool. It's special, and it says something. And we certainly love doing it. We love putting the event on, and we love interacting with new people. We love being a source of comfort and support for people as well. And also, we can thank God. We can thank God that we all made it through the season.
Oh. And also remember those who didn't. That's important as well,
those
isn't
who
it?
didn't, exactly.
Those who didn't. Can I mention one more thing, actually, before we... Just while we're talking about remembrance and blessings.
Please do.
Also, just thinking about the benevolence fund that we have at the Bikers Church, I think is really important to mention.
We have mentioned it, I think, once before, but
we'll
do it again. Yeah, so the Benevolent Fund is mostly people... Another stereotype about churches is I think they're always asking people for money, which is completely not the case.
No.
It's really not the case at all.
It really isn't.
But some people, it is a charity, and some people do feel compelled to donate money. And Bikers Church has a very special fund set up called the Benevolent Fund for specific use of helping injured, downed bikers and their families.
Yeah.
Bereavement, funeral costs, that sort of thing. If the accidents are more severe. And they sell benevolent bears.
They do.
At Bikers Church. They still a £5 each. £5 each, and literally every single 100% goes to the Benevolent Fund.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful thing because it's enabled us to, because people, unfortunately, it's a dangerous thing that we do. It's not without its own risks.
Yeah.
The Bikers Church Benevolent Fund has been able to genuinely help a lot of people struggling when their loved one has either been injured or it's even contributed towards a biker's funeral for a fatal injury. One time we got a motorcycle funeral done, or at least paid, contributed towards it. So it's just another little thing that Bikers Church does that's extremely important.
It is. So I think what we want to say is
we love that it exists.
We do, and just to say, listen, guys, if you're out there thinking, "Oh, I don't know if I'd qualify," just listen. Don't sit there thinking that. Just get in touch with us. All right, that's the truth, because we always say, just let us know.
There is, it's not. We don't have some checklist.
No,
there's no send us an email, get in touch, send us a message. It's that simple. It's that simple. If you know anybody that's motorcycling related, there's been a crash, there's been an injury, there's been something of the sort. If you need help, let us know.
Amen. Listen, mate, it's been amazing. I love spending time with you.
I love spending time with you too.
It's good, isn't it?
I mean, it's we're both very busy people, and it's actually quite hard for us to. Most of the time, it works when we have Bikers Church on, because I'm going to come down.
We always find half an hour now, don't we?
We always find the time, but it's genuinely lovely when we do get to do it, and I
enjoy it.
I've loved doing this with you, and I really.
Thanks, mate.
I really hope it's and the feedback's been great as well.
Good.
People like it.
Do they?
Yeah. Against all the odds.
They must be sure it's something to do. Get a life, get a hobby, buy a motorbike.
Do that. Against all the odds, people actually do like listening to us.
Lord have mercy. Hey?
I don't know why.
I'll tell you something, it's enough to turn people to religion, this is.
Oh yeah, I'll convert, just make them stop.
Anyway, sorry.
Oh, that's very funny. That's the intro. That's the cold open intro right there.
There we go.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. Well, hey, listen. Thank you once again very much for listening. I am sorry that it's taken so long to release these episodes to you, but unfortunately, that's just how it is. We'll try and get back to a monthly release schedule as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, Malk.
Cheers, Andy.
Yeah.
Bless you, bro.
And we will see you hopefully at the Remembrance Service. We'll hopefully see you at Bikers Church, even if it's just on the live stream.
Yeah.
It's Bikers Church UK on YouTube. All of the historic services are up there.
It is. They are.
Right. Good.
Ta-ra.
Ta-ra. Bye.